Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Tuesday, September 26, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 rundown best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Tuesday in Major League Baseball. First up, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Hunter Green and Lucas Giolito are your starters. And the first two starts for Hunter Green back at the Major League level were not good ones. He gave up 13 earned runs combined on August 20th and 25th. But since then, he has been very sharp for Cincinnati. In his last four games, the Reds are 3-1 in those starts. In the month of September thus far, he's got 29 strikeouts and about 19 innings of work with a 1.93 ERA. I think he pitches well in this game, and Lucas Giolito's been tough to read in his first four games as a Guardian. It's been all in the month of September. The team is 1-3 in those games, and he's got an ERA above 5.6. He's given up 7 home runs his last 22 and a third innings. A lot of sharp contact. I don't trust him in this game. Give me the Cincinnati Reds on the money line. Next up, the New York Yankees taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Michael King and Kevin Gausman are your starters. We saw this same pitching matchup last week at Yankee Stadium. It was a pitcher's duel in that one early. Michael King went 7 innings of 1-run ball with 13 strikeouts. Really, probably his best performance of his career thus far, especially in the starting pitching role. Kevin Gausman was also very sharp, 10 strikeouts in that game. So both pitchers double-digit strikeouts. Gausman 6 innings, a shutout ball. The pitch count got away from him early on in that game, but still a really good outing. And that was a 6-1 Blue Jays win. Pretty low-scoring game. The Blue Jays added a few runs late, but I think we see another low-scoring game in this one. I'm going to take the under in the first 5 in the full game. We know the Yankees lineup has really struggled against righties this year. The Blue Jays offense in the last month against righties is solid, but not as good as we've seen at the beginning of the year. Give me the under. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to see no official starter for Washington, but Kyle Bradish should be going for the home team. I know the Nationals have been one of the more profitable road teams, especially as an underdog this season. However, it's tough to go against Kyle Bradish when he's pitching at Camden Yards. He got 2.57 ERA there this season. He's been the most consistent starter for the Orioles this year. In his last couple of games, the Orioles lost those games, but still, his last start against Houston was 6 innings, a shutout ball with 9 strikeouts in the end. So he's just been a quality start machine this year, usually going 6+ innings, keeping the opposing team to under 3 runs. And, I think with the Washington Nationals more than likely going with the bullpen game here. We know this bullpen has not been great overall this season. The Orioles should be able to get the job done. So give me the Orioles laying the 1.5 runs at Camden Yards. Next up, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Detroit Tigers. Zach Greinke and Reese Olson are the projected starters. There's a reason why Zach Greinke's 1-15 this season and 0-9 on the road. He's got an ERA above 7 on the road this year. Can't trust him in this game against Detroit, and a much better starting pitching option in Reese Olson, who just went at the Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers and went 6 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball in a 4-2 Tigers win outright. The Tigers are 3-1 in his last 4 starts, pitching really well in the second half of the year. Even though he hasn't been as good at Comerica Park as he has on the road, I still think he's the much better option in this game. I think the Tigers have the better bullpen, so give me Detroit on the run line and the money line. Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Mitch Keller and Aaron Nola are the projected starters for now, but there is no official lineup for this game, so we could see a pitching change. The Pirates are quietly only 6 games under 500 on the road this season. I think it's worth a shot taking them plus the 1.5 runs here. Mitch Keller, I know, has not been good on the road this season, but Aaron Nola's got a 4.57 ERA. He has not been great himself, and he's facing a Pirates team that has decent numbers against righties in the last month. OPS-wise, isolated power, the walk rate's up there above 9%. The Phillies are a tough matchup for Keller. They're a solid lineup, but I think there's value with Pittsburgh in this game, so give me Pittsburgh plus the 1.5 runs. Next up, the New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. We're going to see Braxton Garrett and Joey Lucchesi on the mound in this game. We saw the same pitching matchup last week. It was a Marlins victory. Braxton Garrett pitched well in that game. 6 innings of no earned run ball. He gave up 1 unearned run, 7 strikeouts, no walks, 5 base hits. It was a 4-3 Marlins win in the end. Lucchesi wasn't too bad in that game either. He went 5 2/3, only 2 earned runs, but I still think Garrett is the much better option in this game, and I like the fact he's pitching on the road here. He's been really sharp away from Lone Depot Park. 6-2 with a 2.52 ERA in 75 innings this year. I think Garrett's the much better option. The Marlins playing for a lot more. Give me the Marlins on the money line. Next up, the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Boston Red Sox. Zach Eflin and Tanner Houck are your projected starters. We've talked a lot about this season how Zach Eflin's been really good at Tropicana Field, but when you look at his games on the road, the Tampa Bay Rays have not lost a Zach Eflin road start since the middle of July. His last game on the road was back on September 15th against the Orioles. It was 7 innings of 1-run ball, 1-hit baseball, 8 strikeouts and no walks in a 7-1 Rays win. Before that, on August 30th, it was 6 1/3, a shutout ball against the Marlins in a victory. August 19th, 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Angels. So they have not lost a start since the game against the Royals on July 16th on the road. That was a rough start for Eflin, but I think he pitches well here at Fenway Park. He's been a very profitable pitcher in general. As of late, the Rays are 5-0 and 6-1 his last 7 starts on the money line, and Tanner Houck's not been great at Fenway Park this season with an ERA above 5. Give me the Rays on the money line here on the road. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Atlanta Braves. Justin Steele and Bryce Elder are your starters. It's going to be a tough matchup for Justin Steele, facing a Braves lineup that's hit lefties very well in the last 30 days, but I think he's good enough here. I think the Cubs lineup's going to back him up. Bryce Elder's got some regression concern. We've talked about his expected numbers all season. He's got that 3.63 ERA and now starting to regress a bit. His last 2 starts against the Marlins and Phillies, both of those were Braves losses. He went 5 innings of 9 hit, 4 earned runs against the Marlins and a home run in that game. And then against the Phillies, 3 2/3, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, and 2 home runs with 5 walks and no strikeouts. Really concerning stuff from Elder going into almost the end of the regular season. Not really what you want to see if you're a Braves fan. Maybe they move Elder to the bullpen and just go with a 3 or 4 man rotation. But I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs here. I think Steele's the much better option. Give me the Cubs on the money line. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Chicago White Sox. Zach Davies and Jesse Schultens are your starters. I've also seen Jose Urena listed on MLB.com, so he could very well be the starter here. And it could be Schultens, Urena, doesn't matter. I'm going with the over here. Zach Davies has struggled this year on the road with an 8.1 ERA. He struggled against the Cubs last start, 4 innings of 3-run ball. Even though the Diamondbacks went on to win that game, it was a high-scoring game, 7-6. I think we see another one here. Jesse Schultens, an ERA above 5. Jose Urena has also struggled this year. The Diamondbacks do a really good job at limiting strikeouts, getting on base versus right-handed pitching. This should be a high-scoring game. Give me the over. Next up, the Oakland Athletics taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Bailey Ober and Paul Blackburn as your starters. I'm going to go with the Oakland A's plus the 1.5 runs here. The Twins already clinched the AL Central. Bailey Ober's not in good form, and he's not pitching deep into games. He's gone 5 innings or less in his last 5 starts, giving up at least 1 home run in all those games. Now, the Twins' bats have been able to back him up in most of those games. However, Paul Blackburn's been solid, probably the best option in this A's rotation, and I think the A's can get to Ober for a couple of runs. We've seen their power numbers against righties in the last month, actually 11th best in isolated power as a team, so give me the A's plus the 1.5 runs. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Zach Thompson and Wade Miley are the starters. Now, we didn't see the same pitching matchup last week, but we saw both of these starters face the opposition. Thompson did not fare well against the Brewers in an 8-2 loss on September 20th. 5 innings of 5 hit, 4 earned run baseball with 2 home runs given up. Wade Miley pitched really well against the Cardinals on September 21st, the next day. In a 6-0 Brewers win, he went 6 innings of shutout ball with 7 strikeouts. We don't see Wade Miley earn a lot of strikeouts, but he was able to do so against St. Louis. This team has struggled against lefties offensively in the last month. Miley and the Brewers are 4-1 his last 5 starts, and Zach Thompson, the Cardinals, have dropped his last 2 games. Give me the Brewers. They've been much better against lefties. They have the better bullpen. Give me the Brewers here. Next up, we see the Texas Rangers taking on the Los Angeles Angels. No official starter for Texas, but we should see Reed Detmers going for LA. Now, Reed Detmers actually in pretty good form in the month of September, 17 2/3 innings with 19 strikeouts, only 1 home run given up, only 3 walks, and a 2.04 ERA. And that's facing some tough lineups in the Orioles, Mariners, and Rays. Now, you're facing a Rangers team, another tough lineup, but against lefties in the last month, this team's numbers have dropped quite a bit, in team OPS and ISO below league average. The strikeout rate and walk rate are still pretty solid, but I think Reed Detmers gives the Angels 4 or 5 good innings. I think that's enough to win this game in the first 5 innings. I don't trust this Angels bullpen, but I also don't love this Rangers bullpen, so this is going to be, a bullpen game for Texas. The Angels should be able to get on the board early. I'm leaning towards the Angels in the first 5 innings on the money line. Next up, the San Diego Padres taking on the San Francisco Giants. Seth Lugo and Kyle Harrison are the projected starters. I think Kyle Harrison's got a lot of potential, but right now he's just not really MLB ready, in my opinion. He's got an ERA just below 5. I like the fact that he misses a lot of bats, but you're facing a San Diego Padres lineup that's absolutely crushing left-handed pitching in the last month. Number 1 in baseball in isolated power by far. Number 1 in baseball in team OPS by far, by over 100 points to the next team in the Chicago Cubs. a very low strikeout rate of 16.3%, the third lowest, and a high walk rate just under 10%. The Padres should be able to get to Harrison. Seth Lugo's in good form for San Diego. The Padres are 3-1 in his last 4 starts. Give me the San Diego Padres on the money line. And your final game for Tuesday's card in Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros taking on the Seattle Mariners. Great matchup here, has a lot of playoff implications. I'm going to go with Seattle in this game. I trust this bullpen more. I also think George Kirby's the better starting pitcher. Even though he's not in the best form recently, he's been a lot better at T-Mobile Park. I look for a bounce-back start for Kirby. Christian Javier's got an ERA above 4.6 on the season, coming off a really good outing, but that was at home at Minute Maid Park against the Orioles. Now on the road where Javier's got an ERA above 5.4. I just don't think this is a very good matchup for him. Give me the Mariners on the money line to end Tuesday night. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.